What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have yet to make a trade. Obviously, we still got about a month, little less now at this point from training camp. Now, I do think in the next week or two, you're going to start hearing some trade rumors again. Maybe not. I don't know for certain. But my guess is, because as we move closer to training camp, I think you're going to see some of these teams kind of drop the price. Will they drop it enough to where the Lakers will actually start doing some of these deals? That is yet to be seen, because if Portland goes, okay, fine, we don't want two unprotected firsts anymore, we'll do one protected and one unprotected, then no, it doesn't make any sense. But if teams start dropping their price because they don't want to go into training camp, they don't want to go into the season with some of these guys, then I could see the Lakers maybe potentially pulling off a deal. But if they don't, the Lakers are going to still be very active, right? Rob Pelinka has said himself that if a deal's there and he can find a deal, he's going to do it and he's going to make the trade and he's going to get it done, right? And as the season progresses, you're just going to get more and more rumors. You're going to get more and more people that are unhappy. You're going to get teams that thought they were going to be good, that aren't good, that are bad, that go, let's unload some guys. You're going to get teams that didn't want to be good, that now are kind of good. And it's right? Look at Utah a few years ago, before we did the trade with them, right? They were looking at one point, they were the 1 seed, right? And then it was just we need to, this isn't what we want to do. This wasn't the plan. Let's start selling guys off here a little bit, right? So you'll just get that natural, teams one way or the other wanting to sell off. You may end up getting some disgruntled star, right? Say Atlanta's terrible, Trae Young might go, get me out of here, right? Trade me by the trade deadline, or maybe Steph or whoever, right? Again, just names for conversation, right? But nonetheless, if nothing happens before training camp, then I don't think anything will happen till closer to the trade deadline. Could maybe something happen, like the Rui trade where it happened, in June or not June, January, right? Because you do get some players that their contracts free up in December and January. This talks about Valanciunas, right? So could the Lakers maybe go make a move in a deal to go get Valanciunas? Very possible, right? Before the trade deadline, as soon as he's available, boom, that deal gets done. Now you got your backup center. Of course, that could be a real possibility. But here's the question that I want to kind of dive into, pose the question to you all. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comments below. But assuming the Lakers don't make a trade now, right? We go into the season with the roster we currently have, which at this point seems more likely than not. What if the Lakers are good? What if, let's say, in the first 35 games, they're 23 and 12, right? In their first 35 games, right? And it's oh, wow, the Lakers, what if they're a top 4, top 5 seed? Because look, you have hopefully better health, another year of chemistry, better coaching. You still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. We know what D'Lo does in the regular season. Can Austin Reeves get back to being better consistency than he was last year, right? There's a lot of things that could kind of line up, and the Lakers could be a very good team, right? I said, I think currently constructed, they're anywhere in that 4 to 6 range, in my opinion. Now, could they easily fall into the 7th or 8th? Sure, because I just think that that's going to be so tight, right? And there are things that could develop or whatever, but I think assuming guys are healthy, coaching's better, which I do believe that is nearly a given, and, better chemistry and all that stuff, I do think the Lakers are in that 4 to 6 range, right? So if they do, and they are, and we're starting to get close to the trade deadline, we're starting to approach that trade deadline, and it's man, we're 10 games over 500 or something like that. Do you then go make that trade? Right? Because that is a really tough question, right? Because let's say Jeremy Grant you can get for, let's say they say no first. We just want to unload Jeremy Grant, right? We just want to get off Jeremy Grant. We'll just match salaries. Do you do that? Right? Do you go do we really want to disrupt what we got going on to go get Jeremy Grant? Yes, it's an upgrade. Yes. And at the, before the season began, we would have done that all day, including Sunday. right? Or, what if what if you could get Cam Johnson and, Jeremy Grant for like a first and a pick swap? Do you do that? Do you really just go, okay, like let's disrupt what we going on? Right? Like that's a tough question. Or what if a star does become available? What if Steph does become available? Just using him as an extreme example. But if Steph becomes available, like right now, I would do that. I would trade whatever I had to go get Steph. But if you're good and you're gonna have to sell basically your entire team to go get Steph Curry, do you really do that? Basically punt this season to then build the roster? Or do you just wait till next season? But then you run the risk of Steph maybe going elsewhere or him changing his mind, right? Or, again, like a Trae Young or something like that. Now, I would trade for a position of need. Like, if the Lakers are good, let's say the Lakers, again, are, let's say they're, 25-15 through the first 40 games, right? That should bring us, like, close, a couple games more, but in the area of the trade deadline, right? Let's say they're really good, get 10 games over 500. I don't think I would tear it down in the hopes that like maybe you get better. Like I don't think I would do what we did 2 years ago. I think I just leave it as is. But I would look to still go get that backup center. I would look to trim around the edges without messing up the core. Right? So say D'Lo and Reeves and Vando and well, you're not training D'Lo, but basically the core guys, right? Like the guys like Rui and D'Lo and guys like that. Unless it's like a clear, oh wow, like this makes too much sense, right? Then yeah, of course you got to do that if you can do that, right? And especially if it's a deal that makes sense now and the long term, then yeah, you do that. But assuming there is no like no-brainer trade, where it's like, oh man, we could turn Rui and D'Lo into Kevin Durant, right? Like unless it's like something like that, then I think the only moves that I would make maybe is like, Gabe Vincent for Valanciunas, or turn Cam Reddish into Walker Kessler. Like go get that backup center for the playoffs, and then you kind of have these 30 games, but you're probably bringing him off the bench anyway. It's because I do think the Lakers could use another like real big man. But outside of that, if the Lakers are good, I'm probably leaving it. Right? Because like even like a Jeremy Grant or a Cam Johnson, you're not just trading Rui, right? Like if you could turn Rui into just like if you could just swap Rui with Cam Johnson, then I think you do that. Right? Like I wouldn't say no to that. Just because again, I don't like Rui's gonna be like your fifth or sixth guy. So even if he is killing it, right? Like Cam Johnson just gives you more on both sides and is better suited as a three. So like an even swap like that. But like for, a Jeremy Grant, right? Like if Gabe Vincent is playing the way that we want him to be, and he is that little legit 3-and-D guard, and he's shooting, 38% from three and being our point of attack and slotted in well, plus Rui, he's still shooting 43% for three and he's doing his thing. And the Lakers are good. And those two are actual key components where like, so say for example, let's say Gabe Vincent is like, he's okay, right? But he's only playing like 12 minutes a game or something like that. Then sure, right? Go get Jeremy Grant, right? Obviously, I think that there are certain variables, certain circumstances that maybe I would still make that move or two, right? Again, like, if essentially you're turning just Rui into Jeremy Grant, then sure, right? Because, if you're trading your fifth and seventh or eighth best player into, an upgrade at a skill position, and now that guy's immediately your third option or, get a clear upgrade, then I'd rather go, I'm okay with that. But like, if Rui and Gabe Vincent are two, like really like, man, like, Gabe Vincent's giving us 10 a game off the bench and defending at a high level for us. Rui is over here. Maybe he's not even starting. Maybe he's coming off the bench. And it's like, man, he's our backup four for LeBron, and he's killing it this year, right? He's doing everything we need him to do, right? Like, let's leave that. Let's do that, right? Like, because now you're turning two bench guys, but you're turning two guys that are such huge factors and components in your success into a guy that, like, yes, it'd be a clear upgrade at the starters, but you're losing some of that balance. Where, like, right now, if you were to make that move, make that trade, you could get Jeremy Grant or whoever it is kind of acclimated, right? And you could kind of make that move and you could do it. Like, I think the Lakers kind of need a trade regardless. And I do think that there is the potential of, like, the fool's gold, where it's like, man, the Lakers look really good, but, like, what does it look like when we get to the playoffs, right? I do think that that is something of concern, right? That's kind of what the Lakers did last year. Although, I do think that they should have traded for DeJounte Murray. I think that that was the biggest mistake they could have done. Because, again, you were essentially swapping D'Lo for DeJounte Murray. Like, yeah, you would have to throw in, like, a Cam Reddish, but who cares, right? Like, you're talking about guys that shouldn't even have been really in the rotation, not big impact players, for a guy that is an all-star level talent that would have made you better and was a clear need, right? Unless somebody like that becomes available, which I just don't see on the market right now, then again, I would just kind of leave it as is and just see what happens and hope that, you get the right matchups slot up, trust your coach, and you trust the players to pick it up and continue, and then boom, get into the playoffs, right? But again, I do think that there are variables, right? If Gabe Vincent's essentially a non-factor, or even if he is, but it's just like we're fine without him, then yeah, go get Jeremy Grant, right? But if it's like, man, Rui and Grant are really huge for us this year, like they've been, our two of our three best guys off the bench, then like, no, like you're losing a lot in that point. So I don't know, kind of just, again, an interesting question that I wanted to pose to all of you, and of course, hear your thoughts and opinions. So let me know down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that the Lakers should make a trade? Like, hey, make a trade regardless? Do you think, no, like, hey, if they're really good, leave it as is, maybe just trim around the edges. Again, go get a center, go get a Valanciunas, go get a Walker Kessler, whatever. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.